Welcome to this episode of The Kitchen Warrior. I am your Chef Melvin, and today I have a very elegant dish that I want to show you using a spiny lobster, flat iron steak, and another assortment of vegetables that I will show you here briefly. So we're going to start here with some onions. I have cut some onions, julienne, and I've cut some carrots, julienne as well. These small little sticks are all going to be combined together, and I'll show you briefly what we'll do with it. Here we have some peeled Yukon Gold potatoes. We have about 1.25 cups of milk. We have some fresh shaved corn right off the corn cob. We have 4 fresh large clams. We have a piece of kielbasa sausage. We have some spices here. We have oregano. We have fresh whole garlic cloves. These are going to be going into the oven. I'll show you what we'll do with that also. We have salt and pepper. We have fresh thyme. We have a chipotle pepper. This is a dehydrated jalapeno that was smoked. And I have it soaking in about 3 ounces of beer till it softens. Here we also have some cumin seeds. We have a little bit more beer over here. This will be used for the clams, and I'll show you when we get there. We also have some olive oil. We have some pencil asparagus, butter, and a spiny lobster. Here we have our spiny lobster. There are several different kinds of lobsters. We have the Maine lobster, which is from very cold waters, and we have our spiny lobster. You have Australian spiny lobsters, and you also have Brazilian spiny lobsters. These are also known as rock lobsters. As you can see, all these beautiful colors. Different varieties have slightly different colorations, and we're going to do the best we can to preserve the beauty of it and enhance it in the best way we can. We'll take our knife, and what we want to do is we want to cut this into 2 pieces. This lobster here is about a $20 lobster, raw. So I'm separating this lobster into 2 segments. That's what I wanted to do. Alright, so what we're going to do here now, we're going to remove the lobster. Alright, and we're going to take these the first two pieces right here of the lobster, and we're going to remove them. That's what we're going to do on both of them. The first 2, 1 and 2. Take them out. This could be saved aside for when you are making any kind of bisque. You use them. All right. So this is what we're going to try to do with it. We're going to roll this lobster. Let's see. We're going to roll this lobster like this over the top. Yes, over the top. Alright, very good. I think it just happened. It happened a little bit too fast. We're going to try it again. Let's see if we can do this a little bit slower. So what we'll do is that we'll set the lobster down like that. That would be the base. And you'll bring this part of the tail up, and you will wrap it. You'll wrap it. Hold on a second. My apologies. Do it this way. Okay. And then you'll wrap it in the opposite direction. Alright, very good. It'll look something like this. When it's baked, it's going to look very beautiful. So what we're going to do in order to protect this lobster from losing some of its beauty, we're going to use a little piece of foil. And we're going to take the tail portion of it, because it is so fragile. Literally, when it goes into the oven, it has a tendency to break, to curl a little too much. So what we do is we just place a little protective barrier right there. Okay. So lobster. This is a 7-ounce lobster. There's different size of lobsters, of course. Each size will look a little bit different based on, but the technique is practically the same. We have gotten the lobsters prepared. We're going to begin working with the clams. So we're going to do a clam bake. So what we really want to do is that we want to open the clams, wash them really good, and we're going to try to open these clams. They're alive, of course. And we're going to open them just like this. Save some of the juices. We try not to crack them as much as we can. So we want them to open up just like that. Every single one of these clams. We're going to cut a piece of the sausage. What we're going to do, we're going to find the best way we're going to make this. So we're going to cut half-moon cuts. Okay, 1 for each. We're going to place one inside, inside each half. All right, very good. We don't need to use the whole entire sausage. So all we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of this corn inside, just a little bit of the corn, right? A little corn inside each one of them. This is fresh sweet corn. Okay, a little bit inside. We're also going to add a little bit of oregano inside each one of them, just a little bit. Now if we had a whole bunch of these, we would just follow the same sequence. We're also going to add a little bit of fresh thyme to each one of them, just a little bit. Another thing we're going to do is we're just going to cut roughly a little bit of this onions and celery. We're going to add a little bit inside as well, just like that. Okay. So what we want to do, just before, we're going to grab a little bit of our beer with a teaspoon. We're going to add a little bit of beer inside, just like that. We're going to close it, and we're going to wrap it with a little bit of foil, just like that. That's how it's going to bake. All right. Let's take another piece. I'm going to bring the clam close. I'm going to get a little beer, teaspoon of beer, place it inside, and we're going to close it and wrap it with foil. Once again, as many juices, all these juices are going to combine inside. As the temperature rises, it will create a little bit of steam. It'll help cook the clam lightly, and it will add some interesting flavors to our clam. We're going to add a little bit of this olive oil to this garlic, just like that. And we're also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper on the top, very nicely. And we're going to place them right in here. What we want is this garlic to roast. Alright, we add a little bit of the olive oil. And we're going to take a little bit of this butter, and we're going to place a little bit right on top of each one of these lobsters. Just like that. Okay, so we have our little clam bake section, and we have our lobster. And everything can bake pretty much about the same time because of its size. You know, it's appropriate to bake them together. So let's place this in the oven, and let's see what happens. Alright, into the oven it goes, 20 minutes. Okay, so we are going to begin by making a mashed potato here with the Yukon Gold potatoes. I've added enough water to cover the potatoes, and they have a little bit of salt. And we're going to let these cook for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. We want to make sure that they're soft enough so that we can mash them. We'll add the milk, some seasoning, and we'll see how that goes. We have our stove here going up in high, and our flank steak, the flat iron steak here, as you can see, the shape of it is the shape of an iron. This is one of the very preferred chef steaks as well as the butchers. This is as good, if not as flavorful, as a New York steak. It's a little secret many people do not know. It's also easy to slice and very flavorful. We'll cook this medium rare. We'll add a little bit of salt and pepper on both sides. Very nicely. It has a really nice marbling inside and is actually very tender. It's also similar to a flank steak, and we'll see. Let's see how this is going to look. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil here, just a little drizzle, just a little bit. We don't want to add too much. What we want to do is we want to seal this really good. We'll make sure that the skillet is red hot. So we're going to place it right over the top, and a little bit of smoke should be produced when this is done. Alright, so we are looking at our mashed potatoes. About 5 minutes have gone by. The potatoes are still very raw. Well, this is about a perfect time to flip the steak. You can smell the gristle in there with the smoke as it carries up into your senses. Okay, we're going to flip the steak very nicely. That awesome taste of beef as it's cooking with a little bit of salt and the pepper is just so inviting. Added a little bit of onions and a little bit of garlic with some oil. Now all we want to do is sweat this just slightly. It's been sweating for about 30 seconds. And to that we're going to add our dehydrated chipotle pepper, and we're going to add the liquid beer to it. And what we want to see is that it evaporates as much as possible. We're also going to add a little bit of cumin. See that? Just a little bit of cumin seeds. And we're going to let this reduce by more than 3/4. A little bit of fresh thyme. This is with stem and all, right into it. This is halfway there. You can already taste the essence of the concentrated liquid as it takes the flavor of chipotle and the other ingredients that we added, shallots and garlic. We're creating a harmonic combination of flavors. Very well. We continue making our beurre blanc, and now we have reached the point where our liquid has mostly evaporated. Very good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this from the direct heat. We're going to take our butter and slowly, small pieces, with the whisk, we're going to begin incorporating it to the sauce. We want to basically, this is called a beurre blanc. It's a butter sauce. If the liquid is too hot, it will break. You will see the oil and the water's separating from it. You want to make sure that you create a little bit of a creaminess of the butter. You're able to melt it right into this liquid. And this is how we will do it. When we have reached the point that we want, the consistency, we will simply strain it, and our beurre blanc sauce will be finalized. We'll season it, of course, and it will be ready to be served. This is a sauce that doesn't sit around too long. You know, at the most, maybe a couple hours. That is the best. There are many different varieties as well of beurre blancs. You can make a number of combinations. If you look into it, there are hundreds of beurre blanc sauces and many different ways of making it. All the beurre blanc, it's finalized. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to transfer it right into this other pan. We're going to go back and forth just a little bit, removing as much of the liquid as we can, and little fragments, very minute little microscopic pieces of garlic, onions and herbs are falling right into the sauce. The next thing we'll do is we'll grab the chipotle and we'll place it right in there to further enhance the flavors of the sauce, and we'll let it rest until we are ready for service. Our pencil asparagus, which we're going to wait towards the end. What we're going to do is we're going to take our hand and we're going to measure about a little bit further than our hand, and we're going to cut right there. This is the best part of the asparagus. So now we are going to briefly blanch our asparagus, and here in the mashed potato water we're going to just add this right to it, and because they're so thin and the water is very hot, we're just going to blanch them lightly right here, just briefly. You can also grill the asparagus and do a number of things with it. I like mine lightly blanched with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. So we're going to make our mashed potatoes. So we remove them from the liquid. All our mashed potato. We're going to still add a little bit of this hot water with a little bit of the starches. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin a little bit of the mashing. We're going to add a little bit of milk. We're going to open these starches. We're also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to add a chunk of butter. Just a little bit, about maybe that much. We can always add more, so that's what we're going to go slowly on this. It's been 20 minutes and our lobsters have finally fully baked. Our garlic has roasted, our clam bakes are ready, and all the vegetables. Let's start getting ready to plate this. So we are ready to start plating this very fine plate that I talked to you about from the beginning. And our flank steak here has been sitting for about 5 minutes, and all the juices have been allowed to finally settle. And we're slicing it in about a 1/4 inch thick slices, just like that. Now you can cook the steak however you like. Most chefs that I know, including myself, we like our steak medium rare, especially if it's of a high grade meat. Now, if we're dealing with ground beef, we always want to make sure that our meat, reaches higher temperatures, only because it's ground and we don't know what's all in it. All right, so with the knife, we're going to use it as a spatula. We're going to bring it right to the middle of the plate right here, and we're going to set it down. And what we're going to do is with our fingers, just move it a little bit, because we want to see the different colors. Just like that. How beautiful it looks. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to unveil our lobster that we have baked in the oven. We're going to remove the foil from the tail. Now I'm going to pull one up here so you can see what it looks like. Look how beautiful the spiral looks. The spiny lobster. Looks very beautiful. It's Mother Nature at its best. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to place one right over here. In this one end. We're going to unveil this one. We lift it, and we place another one right there, just like that. Now we have a little bit of these roasted garlics. These roasted garlics will make really good companions to our lobster, maybe on either side, just like that. Alright, the next thing we want to do is we want to open up our clam bake that we made earlier. So we're going to place these just out here in the outside, and we'll see how we're going to do this here shortly. Maybe right, so we're going to place some of our asparagus right here, very nicely right there. We're going to place some of them right here, just like that, beautifully. Maybe a couple of pieces of sausage, right there. Another piece of sausage right here, very nicely. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of our beurre blanc, of our chipotle beurre blanc, right along the top of our steak, just like that, all along our steak. We're going to leave this chili right in the center, because this tells everybody this is the item that this was made with. And we took a little bit of the drippings from the steak, and we're going to also add it all along the top. Just drop a little bit on top of each clam. And this, my friend, along with some mashed potato, it's a dinner meant for someone very special, and that someone, it's you. I am Chef Melvin, the Kitchen Warrior. Thank you for watching. Until next time.